Greetings. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of South County worship service, January 10, 2021. I'm Sally Barney, and I'm here with Sarah Bell and Tracy Hart to lead our service. Today, while we're together in spirit, we invite you to join in a communal experience of transformation with a fire ritual and a bell-ringing meditation. In this way, may we move forward together into this new year with joyful inspiration. Before we begin, we have an announcement from our minister, Reverend DL Helfer.
For this week and for the rest of January, we'll be partaking in the annual Guest at Your Table program. This is a program of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. It's an intergenerational and international program to raise support for and awareness about key human rights issues. It's an opportunity to celebrate grassroots partnerships to support human rights and to learn about 4 specific individuals and their role each week and the guests that they have at their tables. Each of the 4 guests has a story, and this is a story of that person to begin with. This year's theme, by the way, is the meaning of home. This week's guest is Suhadin Karimuddin. He was targeted by the Burmese government because of his Rohingya ethnic and religious identity. This happened when he was only 17 years old. He was a high school student, and Suhadin, who goes by Suja, was prohibited from taking his high school exams because of the rising crackdowns in Burma on the Rohingya ethnic minority. It held back their access to education, health, and other basic human rights. So after challenging the government for a chance to take his exam, Suja was unfortunately arrested, detained, beaten, and held in custody. And he explains that after about 11 days, he was released on bail, but with a very large sum as a bribe. And he was terrified he'd be arrested and tortured again. So he fled through several countries, eventually ending up in Australia. And he was in pretty bad shape when he left, as you can imagine. Although he is now an Australian citizen, Suja did spend several years on the way there in Malaysia as a refugee. And during that time, he realized the deep lack of support and services that refugees there face. These experiences inspired Suja to found a nonprofit community center in 2017 called Elam Empowerment, dedicated to supporting Rohingya refugees in and around Kuala Lumpur. Elam offers an array of programs at its community center, from education to youth empowerment, community engagement, women's rights, and livelihood assistance. Suja explains that at its core, they're trying to create a space for refugees to come and breathe, a safe space where they can practice their own cultural traditions and have a sense of community and belonging, much the same way as we try to do each Sunday. So each year when we run the Guest at Your Table program, generally for a month, we do so to recognize individuals like Suja and communities like the one that he had to flee from. And your part is easy. It's simple anyways. Normally, we'd supply you with little collection boxes, which you'd place on your table or somewhere you see fit, and contribute to it through the month of January. This year, because of COVID, we don't have those physical boxes. So the request is to improvise. Find a bowl or something else meaningful and gather your pocket change or a daily donation or some other format so that at month's end, you can take that money and donate it to Guest at Your Table. Our newsletter has other donation instructions. There's ways at month's end that you can donate it online via a link, or you can send in a check. with Guest at Your Table in the memo line. But right now, the request is simply this: for this month to join us in sitting with and to be with those who the reality of home, of safety, is so far from a given. I ask you to help me change that for Suja and his family.
During this time of year, we traditionally recognize the opportunity to name ways that we'd like to change, new approaches that we'd like to explore, and to re-energize motivation towards our higher ideals and aspirations. This past year has certainly challenged us through the COVID pandemic with isolation, fear, sickness, and loss. Now, as we have passed through the longest night of the year, we can take heart as a dawning of inspiration arises. Making our way, accompanied by the expansive qualities of increased hours of daylight, we can be cheered by the promise of warmer weather and the Earth's reawakening.
Today, we'll celebrate an opportunity to contemplate and release or transform a painful burden. Whether by our own patterns, behaviors, or ways of thinking which no longer serve us, or if we are anchored to sorrows or loss of yesterday, all will be invited to use the purifying energy of fire to symbolize the desire to become free of this weight upon our hearts and minds. And in the burning, what we leave behind creates space to usher in energy for new growth. Letting go of the past will embrace the present moment and invite you to ring out your bells, welcoming delightful possibilities to refresh your spirit.
Dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis 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 pacem, pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis 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 pacem.
I light this chalice to remind us of the light of this community, of the love that holds us all, and of our deep interconnectedness. Please join me in the recitation of our shared covenant. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
At this time in our worship service, we hold sacred space to share our personal joys and sorrows. We invite you to pause and focus within, on any sorrows or concerns which may be weighing on your heart at this time. Open to the healing power and energy from our beloved community. May we find solace here. Know that you are not alone. Next, perhaps bring into mind something you find to be uplifting and joyful. Imagine lovingly celebrating and sharing this joy with our congregation. With compassion, may we hold one another's sorrows and joys in our hearts.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
And now we will do a fire ritual, primitive, and a way of joining and purifying things in our hearts and releasing what weighs upon us. The way that we're going to do it today is I'm going to give everyone some time to think about what they would like to leave behind, what burden they would like to let go of. So you'll think of that, and then I'm going to hold up a piece of paper, and then just send it with your energy. Send your thoughts about what you would like to transform or release. And then communally and symbolically, I will be the conduit for us lightening our spirits so that we go into the world in the new year with renewed energy and stamina and courage for all that we will be facing. And joy. So right now, if we could just take maybe a slow, deep breath to center yourself and think about what you would like to release or transform. And now a poem, The Fire of Transformation by Ania Ananda Wood. When you are convinced you have failed and all is lost, what if everything is happening exactly as it is meant to be? As the theater of your mind is burning to the ground, notice the beauty of the flames. Let it burn. Here, I have more to throw into that fire. Your self-doubt, the voice that says you're not good enough, your desire to please people, your mother's desire to please people, lifetimes of wounded humanity. Let's create a bonfire of everything that no longer serves you. Let the heat melt open the cage around your heart. Soon it will be time to dance in the ashes of your ego. May the sacred dust you kick up create clouds of grace upon which your spirit may rest. Welcome to the world, dear one. Please take the sweet risk on your own annihilation, for the only thing that is certain is your inevitable rebirth.
We now move into the bell meditation, which is a practice that integrates conscious breathing with the ringing of the bells. Bells have been traditionally used to sound a clear call to greater awareness with an uplifting and joyful tone. For the conscious breathing, let's explore a yoga technique called the complete breath. First, exhaling, we let go into relaxation. And then when you're ready, breathing in through your nose if that's comfortable. Aiming to breathe into your lower lungs first, then mid and upper. Nourishing your whole body. And then once again, exhaling slow, steady breath out through your nose or your mouth. So for the bell meditation, we'll be breathing together for 7 rounds, 7 breaths. We'll begin with, I'll ring the bell, and that will be an exhalation. And then we'll begin with the first inhalation. And take a moment now to consider what you're intending. An affirmation for yourself for this new year. You're tuning into your heart's aspiration. Bell meditation, as you ring the bell, it will be on the exhalation. And an inhale, as you inhale, considering what you're intending. So we'll start with that exhalation.
birds that sang at the break of day. Start again, I heard them say. Don't dwell on what has passed away, or what is yet to be. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Ring out wild bells to the wild, wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let it climb. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let it go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that live we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring out redress to humankind. Ring out the fighting place and blood, the city's slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good.
Before I read the closing words, I want to announce that if you are joining this service on the morning of January 10th, all are invited to continue with us by participating in a live candle lighting ritual today at 11 o'clock coffee hour, which you can find through our website, UUCSC.org. And now for the closing words, which are from an unknown source. I offer them to you in service to our larger beloved community. I invoke the forces of peace and harmony and ask these forces to prepare me as a channel for their overlighting guidance. My heart swells with gratitude for a winter of inner preparation, which will lead me to the first step in becoming a channel for peace, that of finding peace within my own being.